your voice of the Valley, AM 1450 KBMW. Turner Bluff is here, early part of a 4 o'clock hour on a Friday. You guys know what that means, everybody. Your favorite part of the Friday show, I hope it is at least. The Snap Spotlight brought to you by Snap Fitness in Wapaton. We got our first BW wrestler coming on. David Erlandson, how's it going today?
Pretty good, Turner. How you doing?
Very good. Fifth place finish at state, David Erlandson, I should say. Congratulations on a fantastic season.
Thank you. You know, it ended pretty good considering my goals going into the season were just get to state and like improve over what I did last year. But it ended, and I'm very happy with how it did.
Exceeding the expectations. Love to hear that. And tell me about the excitement when you got to hop up on the podium for that awesome photo.
I don't know if anybody has a video of it, but I just could not get the smile off my face all day. I mean, winning my placement match and triple overtime, just could not stop smiling until I went to bed that night and woke up, and I just kept replaying it. But, knew there was more to get done, so went out the next day and got a couple wins and got fifth place, and it's just as a surreal feeling.
Is the placement match your favorite match of your career then?
It didn't last a whole long time, injury forfeit, but getting there was really fun.
Oh, gotcha. And your three older brothers, Greg, Steven, and Daniel, also placed at the state tournament. Do you feel like you're on a good trajectory to catch up to them? I know they've all placed multiple times, but you and Steve are the only ones to place as freshmen, so you seem to be on the right path.
Yeah, they give me something to chase. Like every day going in the room, I just kind of think about, like, I want to be like them. They're from like the same background as me. They did it, so I can do it too. I can do it better than they did. And so just gave me a good motivation every day to work harder and to be better than them, hopefully, by the end.
I remember covering Daniel throughout his career, and by the end of his career, I was kind of thinking you're a bit of a hybrid between Greg and Steven a little bit. Lean more toward Greg, but I would still say an accurate comparison. Do you think the Steven comparison would probably be the most fitting for you, for your brothers that came before?
I think I'm more of, again, like in between Greg and Steven, but a little more towards Steven, just the way I'm built and just the way our like mannerisms are and just how
style
act and wrestling style and watched a lot of film on him growing up, like a bunch of like highlight videos that.
Oh, I know the highlight videos. Yeah. I got them locked away. I know what you're talking about.
When I was younger, those were my favorite things, and I still watch them, but just looking at those, it's how I got a lot of my technique and my moves and everything I like to do. I kind of based off those videos and being like my older brothers.
Gotcha. And last question about your brothers, because frankly, I don't care for them very much. But do you feel a little bit of pressure to follow in their success?
A little bit. Sometimes I get a lot of recognition off my last name, and that's good for some things. People know who I am, but also people kind of have a bar set for me already before I'm kind of developing at my own rate. So trying to hit that bar is a little bit of a problem sometimes, but also gives me a reason to work harder and to be more active and to just keep getting better. There's never a place to stop, really. You
have no idea how many of the coaches and announcers I've heard whenever I end up in the press box of your football games that say, "Oh, another Erlandson." But the last one in the family, the baby of the family, I got to let everybody know they're the last one in the breed. And what is a little bit of let's not focus on the brothers anymore. Let's drop them from the equation. Let's jump back to this fall where you helped the Cowboys to a section championship as one of the team's starting linebackers. How much fun did you have your first year of varsity football?
I don't think there was much of a better feeling than my first snap on varsity. Was just I think I had my hand hit pretty hard and like on a helmet, and it just kind of hurt, but I was still smiling, and I was like, oh, here we go. We got another play. Let's go get it. And just there's nothing better than playing on Friday nights and looking over and seeing all the people who work just as hard as I do and condition just as hard as I do, everybody. And, we all worked really hard to get a great end result going to state. And that was just very rewarding to see everybody do that.
Who would you say was one of your teammates, one of the older teammates that was maybe showing you the ropes a little bit when you got slid into the starting position?
Gavin Peterson was another linebacker who I kind of looked at and watched how he did it. He was really good at the things he did. Paul Armitage during practices, because he was also a running back and linebacker, talked me through a lot of the position stuff, what to do on this play and getting more into the rhythm of being athletic but also playing good football. So
Gotcha. And I'm sure Gavin Peterson had a lot to say to really give you some guidance there, a man of many words.
Not a whole lot to say, but I just watched him and I learned from what he was doing rather than what he said to me.
Gotcha. And you had a fellow freshman, Jackson Riggs, also starting alongside you at the free safety position. And that's got to be fun to know that you guys are going to be able to do this together for a few years.
Oh, yeah. All summer long, that's what we were thinking about, was just playing football together and thinking about our senior year. Just we want to be a great team in the state and trying to get all the freshmen in our grade up to par and be the best athletically that we can. Mm-hmm. Having somebody like that, he's also a great athlete, but gave me somebody in my grade to always push me and make me be the best that I can be.
What's that like, kind of looking around and it's all the older dudes that you're playing alongside? That's got to be a bit of a scary experience at times, I can imagine, after, playing your own guys your own age, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm surrounded by like 5 seniors and a couple juniors. What's that like?
I remember there was one week during the season we had 2 JV games and a varsity game, and just the 2 JV games were insanely easy. They weren't very technically sound, and athletically they weren't as gifted. And then I remember walking out on Friday night, and the other guys just full mustaches and beards, and I just looked at them like, these guys are a lot bigger. And like I got a couple reps at running back that night, and I remember I took one just up the hole and made it like 4 or 5 yards and just got hit, and I was like, yeah, that's why these guys are on varsity and not JV. They're older and stronger, but I just kept wanting to be better than they were, and I know that's when I'm a senior, I want to be better than the other teams are, but have them say, dang, that kid, he's a good football player. So just practicing hard is important.
That's a good welcome to varsity football moment for sure. And you got your dad helping you out both in football, wrestling, and also going to be your track coach this spring. How fun is that? Or maybe not fun to have the old man as a coach every day in practice?
He's he's a different person for me as a coach than he is as a dad, at home. Awesome. But then when I get to like practices and stuff, he's my biggest critic. But also a great thing, makes me be the best that I can be, keeps pushing me and spends a lot of time with me to help me get better because he cares for me. That's really nice to have, and I'm so grateful for him being able to be with me for football and wrestling and track. It helps me in all the sports to just keep I know that if I take like a rep off or do something not 100%, he's going to see it and he's going to call me out for it. So.
Yeah, and I knowing Mystery, I'm imagining if he wasn't doing a good job coaching the kids, he probably would have been like, all right, this isn't for me. I'm just going to let the kids do it on their own. But your brothers have had success, obviously. He knows what he's doing, so you better listen to Mystery is what I'm telling you. And could you tell me about being part of a co-op? It's only year 2 of the co-op. I know you've spent most of your varsity career with the Storm, but after following the program in your younger years, can you say there's really much of a difference?
Especially when the co-op was first starting, like when I first heard the news about it, I just did not want to co-op. There's so many great things about cowboy wrestling, and I'm sure there was a lot of great things about husky wrestling. And I was just I didn't want to transfer over to North Dakota and wrestle those North Dakota teams and leave everything great about our rec wrestling in the past. But we've been able to kind of combine the two styles and traditions and bring in the hard work and stuff that we had when we were with Breck and bring it over. And it's really nice to have that. We don't have a lot of older kids. That's one thing that I remember with when we were the Cowboys. I just had a lot of older kids that I wanted to look up to. My brother, Aiden Ruddy, Zach Hare, Tanner Differding. They were all in the wrestling room kind of the same time I was. So I got to see them working harder than I did at the time. But then going over to the Storm, I still had Aiden Ruddy for his senior year. It was nice to have him. But a lot of new familiar faces. And, the practices, it was weird having a full room. You had to watch out to make sure you didn't hit somebody rather than having your own, 20 by 20 space to wrestle in. But it's been fun, a little bit more competitive as a team. But we're still getting more seniority. And as the people, the freshmen and sophomores, as we grow up, hopefully be the seniority to those younger kids when they're ready.
All right. Well, you're going to have to wait till your career's over to go back and watch the Minnesota State wrestling tournament that I miss so much. Such a fantastic tournament. North Dakota's fun too, but Minnesota, that is next level being there in that environment for sure. And you going to go back and check it out one of these days maybe?
planning to go tomorrow.
No way. You're going this? Oh, gosh. That worked out really well. Okay.
We are looking for just like, because we did compete against a couple Minnesota teams and wrestled some of them at tournaments. So like a couple guys from Border West I wrestled. I want to see how they do at state, getting to like compare myself to like, I know where I am at in North Dakota. Now I got to see where I'm at in Minnesota, like where I would have stacked up. And hopefully one day go back there as maybe a coach or get something like that going again.
I remember talking to a coach from Wahpeton. We were kind of comparing the two state tournaments, and he said, you take the top 2-3 guys at any weight class, like pretty much any state, throw them all together. That could go either way. So I don't think it's a real knock on the competition. You're still taking on some really great competition in North Dakota, but I just missed that environment of the state wrestling tournament there. That is something else in Minnesota, the XL.
Yeah, me too.
Either way, you're still going.
yeah, that's true. We still got more to go. But the Excel Center, I remember just going to watch Daniel and Steven when I was really young. Just like how grandeur it seemed and how amazing it was to like look at this huge stadium and just I wanted to go up to the top row and look down and I'd always get scared because it was really steep. But and then you compare that to the Fargo Dome, which is also really nice, but it doesn't seem as like grand because we played section finals there for football. And like when we were 5th and 6th graders, I've spent a lot more time there.
Yeah, I got
like
you.
Playing and performing than I have. I've never performed at the Excel Center. But.
I got you. Well, what are some goals you've set for yourself for your high school career? You can go sport by sport, or you could just say across the board, this is my goal for my career.
For football, hopefully I want to get all of the grades around me. I want to get us to the point where we can look for a state championship as a team and be able to like play with and just have fun as like a family out there and be able to like one of your buddies makes a tackle and then you also kind of feel that pride in you like, yeah, he's getting better, he's ready to go. And then winning games as a team was just looking at this year's seniors, it looked like they were able to do that. So hopefully by the time we're up there, be able to look back on our senior season with pride and be like, yeah, we were good back then. For wrestling, just getting more people into the sport, getting more, hopefully, football players to come over. Hopefully that transitions to football. But, being competitive as a team, hopefully making like the dual tournament one year, never been able to do that as Breckenridge for a long time. But also getting a lot of guys it's nice to have a lot of guys who put in the work, but getting a like more full roster of seniority and hard work and having a lot of guys be up at a high level is just something I look forward to.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Anything else you'd like to add?
Not really. Just thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. You have skyrocketed to my favorite Erlandson now. You didn't have a lot of competition to beat, but you're number one now. And now, before we wrap it up, snap schedule reminder for the upcoming week. Not a whole lot to report. Breckenridge boys basketball heads to Waubun to take on Mahnomen Waubun at 7:30 p.m. tonight. NDSCS men and women in action tomorrow for the Region 13 tournament. And the NDSCS women play at 1 p.m. against Lake Region State College. NDSCS men follow at 3 p.m. against Williston State College. Breckenridge girls basketball takes on Henning at Perham High School at 2:45 tomorrow in the Section 6A tournament. By the way, if NDSCS men or women win, they also play on Sunday. So that's your snap schedule reminder. And that will do it for another Snap Spotlight. If you guys want to catch this video this interview on YouTube, make sure to go to KBMW News Live. Now for a quick word from our sponsor.
Snap Fitness, your locally owned gym in Wahpeton, wants to have you join their workout family. Snap offers personal training, and owner Renata Faub will even write up workout plans for you. If you're an athlete in the Twin Towns, Snap Fitness will help you make sure you're prepared for the upcoming sports season. To all the retired athletes over 65, Snap Fitness participates in the Silver Sneakers Insurance Program, and most major insurances reimburse for memberships to Snap. Stop by Snap Fitness today and ask about their membership packages. They're located at 102 7th Street South in Wahpeton.